Okay, this is the last of the series. Alright, in this video what you're going to do is you're going to learn how to calculate your percent error. Alright, so what I'm doing is I'm actually going to, I actually have gone online, I've opened up both of the Excel spreadsheets, I've borrowed Excel spreadsheets from different people. And what we're going to do is we're going to show you how to set up a spreadsheet which will allow you to calculate percent error. Alright, now here's the other thing too. I'm not going to go step by step and have you point and click and figure this out and say, you just follow it and you do it. You are actually going to have to think about how you're going to set this up to do it. All right, I'm going to show you a basic outline of what I want, but then you guys need to figure out how you're going to put in the count, put in the formula. All right, so that's what's happening next, and that's what we're going to do. So let's take a look at this. Well, right now, this is the first spreadsheet you guys uploaded. This shows all the coins. Now, if you go over here, this is the second. So what I want to do is I want to have them both on one spreadsheet. And that's actually a fairly simple process. I'm going to click up in the corner here so that it highlights everything. I'm going to go Control C is one way, or I think you can go somewhere up here. Copy, I think, is one of these. Okay, copy. And then I'm going to go back to the other spreadsheet. And I'm going to create a new spreadsheet. This is in modern version Excel, so if you just click on the little where it says Sheet 1, click on the next button and it creates up Sheet 2. I'm going to put this coin densities actual. Okay, so that's the actual coin density based on the calculations. I'm going to click up in this corner. I'm going to go paste. Boom, and all the stuff pops in. All right. Now there is one other thing I do want to show you. This one here, I think, is a really good example of something that's a little bit off. All right, if you take a look at this one here, whoops, that's the modern penny. Yeah, the modern penny is the one that I'm having a little bit of a problem with. All right, how is it that at 2.5% of the modern penny, the density is more than the silver? Well, it isn't. The reason it's come out that way is that when this person did the calculation, 2.5% is not 2.5, it's 0.025. So now this is the beauty of using formulas in Excel. All you have to do is go 0.025, get rid of the decimal, and hit enter. Boom, and that everything all of a sudden changes, and now we have the new density. So we can fix that pretty easy. But if you take a look, this is experimental group. I'm going to click on the sheet where at the bottom, and I'm going to change it. I double click so it gets highlighted, experimental. Alright, so experimental coin density. I'm going to create another sheet by clicking here, and I'm going to put this as percent error. Alright, now, so what do I have to do? Well, what I'm going to do is in the top column, I'm going to actually set up three basic columns. The first column is going to be, alright, this is going to be the coin. Now you need to do the coins that you did. Alright, so we're going to make this bold. I'm going to click the whole row by clicking on the one, click bold. This is the coin. This is experimental. And this is actual. Actual is going to be the stuff we did from the figures we got from Wikipedia. Okay, now, so I'm just going to do the Morgan Silver dollar. So I'm going to type in the Morgan Silver dollar. Now, there's a couple ways you can actually do this if you're really lazy. All right, we can just select it. Okay, you notice that the infamous cap locks took over. All right, but what we're going to do is we're going to say, okay, let's calculate. Now, I'm going to take a look at what was my experimental value. So what I first need to do is I'm going to click in the cell. Actually, I'm going to click up in the formula bar, and I'm going to put equals. And then I'm going to go over here, experimental, and I'm going to say, I'm going to pretend that I'm, let's see, let's scroll down. Morgan Silver dollar is going to be way down here. And I'm going to say that I'm Rachel Feeney. All right. So we have this one here, the Morgan Silver dollar pre-1900, and this is what I calculated for the density. All right. So I'm going to click on that. If I click on that number, that cell, which is C78, and hit enter, boom, it actually brings that information over. Watch what happens when I click. It says, okay, go to this spreadsheet and grab cell 78. This is the actual that we calculated. So I'm going to go to coin density actual. And let me see, the Morgan Silva, this is the density that I should have gotten, this number right here. So I'm going to hit enter. Boom. Oops, and that did not work. That's because what I should have done is I should have clicked in the cell, put equals, and then, okay, this equals the information from the coin density actual page. Click on this. That's the actual coin density calculated from the numbers. Okay, you'll notice this right here is the whole thing. That's the density that we calculated. This is the number H5 in this case. All right, your number will be different, and you hit enter. And now you notice that, okay, we've got an experimental value and an actual value. Now, we're going to do this for all the different things. Okay, say for instance I want to do the Buffalo nickel. I just scroll over to the experimental. I'm just going to grab Buffalo nickel from one of these. Buffalo head nickel. Boom. Whoops. Again, I forgot to do this. I have to click on this. If this is going to equal, I'm going to go to experimental group, click on the Buffalo, and so it says, okay, that's what you're going to be putting in there. And then all I have to do is say, okay, what's the experimental number? Let's go over here, experimental. And this is the number that we got from our calculation. This is what Pete Foley got. Hit enter. And I keep on making the same error. Whenever I want to fill in a number from another sheet, I have to click on equals, and then I go back, experimental, and then I just go click on this number, and then it says, okay, well, that's the experimental number I got. All right, so I'm getting all my numbers. Okay, the Buffalo head nickel, the experimental calculations was 7.3. The actual calculation was, I'm going to go to coin density actual, and let me see, hopefully there's a Buffalo head nickel here. There we go. All right, Buffalo nickel, this is its numbers, there's the density. All right, for the Buffalo nickel is 8.9. I'm going to click on that. Boom. And again, I made the same error. If I want to bring that actual number over, I have to click in equals. Go get the coin density equals, Buffalo head nickel, and I'm going to click on this number here, the 8.9, because that's the density that we calculated. All right, and I'm going to hit enter. Boom. And now that fills it in. So you're going to do that for actually I think 6 different coins. All right. The Morgan Silva is the one I gave you, and then the others. And now what you're going to do is now you have to calculate percent error. Now, you're going to do this yourself. You have to figure out how you're going to put this formula in. And then I will give you a little hint. Once you put the formula in, you can do a drag down. All right? And what's going to happen, all right, I'm going to give you a little bit of a hint. All right, it's going to be equals the experimental value minus the actual over the actual value times 100, and that gives you the percent value. All right, so the question is, how are you going to do that? Well, if you're going to have something has to be subtracted from something, and then you're going to divide, you're going to have to do an order of operation thing. So that means it's going to be equal something, then you have to open the parenthesis, do the experimental minus the actual, okay, and then you're going to close the parenthesis, and then you're going to divide everything by the actual again. All right, experimental minus actual divided by the actual, and that gives you a decimal, and then you multiply that by 100, and that gives you percent. Actually, I believe if you want to, you can actually, there's just a percent formatting that you can do. All right, so that's it. Now you notice I haven't given you every single step to every single thing. All right. Again, what do we need to do now? Well, I need to get all the names of my coins, so I'm just going to go and I'm going to select all the different names, okay, over here in column A. Then I have to go to the experimental value, and I have to go and find what I calculated for an experimental value for each one of these coins. They're going to be different for every person, all right? Then I'm going to go find the actual calculations, all right? All right, so in other words, what numbers did I get from the information I pulled off Wikipedia? And then over here, I'm going to calculate the percent error. And the way I'm going to do it, I'm going to type in the formula equals, open parenthesis, actually I will do it here, equals the percent, which is that cell, minus the actual, close parenthesis, and then I'm going to divide it by the actual, which is here. All right, and that's going to give me that information. All right. Again, your numbers may vary, so you have to really think about what you're doing. All right. And actually, if you want to do this whole thing, if you want to pull it out, you just open parenthesis, put a second parenthesis up here, and then multiply the entire thing by 100, and that will give you a percentage. All right, that's how one calculates that. All right, so that's it. When you're done with this, you're going to actually have your percent error, and then the last part of this assignment, you're going to notice there's a place in the assignment where you can actually type in. I want you to explain, did you have a positive or negative error? In other words, did you calculate the density to be higher or lower? All right, and then the second question is going to be, what would cause that error? Do you have any ideas of why you may have wound up having errors? Okay, is there any explanation for it? All right, so you're going to go through your data, comb through your data, and see if you can figure out what your error is. The big points are going to be on your explanation of your error. Okay, so I want you to think about what would cause the error. Okay. Also, the other thing is, since we're doing this, okay, we really have to start actually thinking about putting things in significant figures. Okay. The last part is take the experimental figure you have and say, okay, what would this be in significant figures? Okay, we've just been using huge numbers. These ugly numbers here, okay, are really the result of the math. We need to now put that into significant figures, which is going to be a lot smaller number. Okay, that's it. Move on.